Yes.
Hello, come, Pillay.
Good afternoon.
Please sit down.
Please, thank you, sir.
Be comfortable. We'll ask a few questions after you settle down.
Yes.
So most of your education, or the entire education of yours, was in Raipur.
Yes, sir. Most of it is in Raipur.
Any part in Naya Raipur or all Raipur only?
Sir, it was in Raipur.
So you used to live in Raipur. There are no quarters in Naya Raipur, only the secretariat is there? Or?
Sir, the quarters for the government officers are being built. It will take 2 years for the completion.
So the state has been in existence for how long now? 30 years?
Yes, almost 20 years.
And you were born a little earlier than the formation of the state.
Yes, I was born in 1996.
So do you remember getting educated in any other part of erstwhile Madhya Pradesh? Or?
Sir, for a brief period, I was studying in Jabalpur in Holy Heart School.
Okay. Otherwise, bulk of your education is right.
Yes, sir. It's remained right.
Okay. I know nothing about Raipur. And therefore, you must tell me about Raipur, both the positive as well as the negative aspects. I'll give you 3 minutes.
So Raipur is the state capital of Chhattisgarh, came into existence in November 2000. Raipur, sir, is an educational hub with an AIMS, a National Law University, an IIM, and a National Institute of Technology. Raipur is also a health hub with key institutions like AIMS, Balaji Health Hospitals, and Satya Sai. Sir, Raipur is a key service sector economy with numerous industries that are dealing with business process outsourcing, and the IT industry having set up base in Raipur. Raipur, sir, is also famous because of the land city Naya Raipur, which adjoins it, and that is one of the 21st century's first planned cities in India. Sir, as far as the positives of Raipur are concerned, it is a city with a high livability index. It has added sufficient green cover, which prevents the formation of urban heat islands. The negatives are in Raipur is the congestion and the air pollution that is prone to occur because the ownership of private vehicles is on the higher side, and the public transport system has a few gaps that have to be filled. Raipur, sir, is also famous because it has centers of culture. For example, there's a tribal museum that is based in Raipur. Raipur also has a tourist attraction, which is the jungle safari, Asia's largest man-made jungle safari. Raipur, sir, is poised to become a growth hub for the state of Chhattisgarh, and in order to achieve the same, the state government has introduced an action plan to make the city more attractive for businesses and also to address the concerns that have been expressed by some of the residents. For example, sir, the residents had expressed concerns regarding the waste collection processes, after which measures were taken in order to increase the efficiency of that process and put in place accountability measures for citizens.
These days, in the context of economic development, we talk about PPP. PPP, triple P. Do you know what it is? What does it stand for?
So it stands for Public-Private Partnership.
Yeah. Can you name some projects which were taken up under PPP mode in the country or in your state?
Sir, Hyderabad Metro is one project which was taken up under PPP mode. Sir, the construction of national highways has also been taken up under PPP.
In the context of PPP, we also hear something called the VGF.
Yes.
What is that?
So it is viability gap funding, and it is provided to the private sector by the government to compensate for a shortage of funds. Therefore, sir, VGF acts as an incentive for the private sector agencies that are participating to come forward and partner the government in the project process.
Is it for shortage of funds or something else? You said that EGF is given by the government to private sector because they have shortage of funds. You said that.
Yes.
Is it for shortage of funds or is it for viability gap?
Sir, I think shortage of funds and viability gap in the sense, suppose there is an airport operator in the northeast region where they may not be able to recover their investment.
Yeah.
In order to meet that shortage, the viability.
So you mean shortage of revenues?
Yes.
It's not shortage of funds. Shortage of funds means capital has to be infused. Okay. What is the difference between PPP and disinvestment?
So disinvestment refers to the government stake in an enterprise, normally a public sector enterprise, being sold off. Whereas PPP refers to a project which may be an infrastructure project being undertaken jointly by the government and the private sector. So in this context of disinvestment, the government may still retain strategic control of that particular enterprise. Whereas in PPP, it is possible that the ownership and management of the asset that has been created will rest with the private sector, the agency that is participating.
Not forever,
Yeah.
for a certain period.
Yes.
It's a concessional agreement.
Yes.
Have you heard of any regulator in the PPP projects in some sectors? Who regulates, for instance, in electricity? You have something called electricity regulator in your state?
So there is a Chhattisgarh State Electricity Board.
Electricity board is the generator of power or transmitter or distributor. What does it do?
So it deals with distribution mainly.
Who generates?
So the various power companies that have been incorporated in the state.
So who decides on the power tariff to be collected from different types of consumers? There is an electricity regulator running the state.
Regulating authority.
Yes, Electricity Regulatory Commission as it is called. Do you know something about environmental impact assessment in the context of mining in Chhattisgarh area?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
So prior to any project which is carried out in an environmentally sensitive area, this impact assessment has to be conducted. In the context of this assessment, the concerns of the residents of that area, the views of the environmental experts are taken into account. Thereafter, sir, a list is prepared of the various adverse actions that could result due to the project, and steps are taken to mitigate those. Based on the environmental impact assessment, a final call is taken on whether to continue with the project as it is, whether to implement the mitigation measures, or in the final case, if there is no other alternative, to relocate.
Have you heard of something called the Millennium Development Goals? Do they have the same name now or changed, or what are they?
Sir, the Millennium Development Goals were set by the United Nations in 2000, and now they are the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yeah.
And so they cover a broad range of sectors, and in all there are around 175, 176 targets. They deal with, for example, elimination of hunger, elimination of poverty, sustainable use of the world's oceans. And sir, member states of the United Nations are expected to take action in order to achieve these sustainable development goals.
Who monitors the implementation of various schemes to achieve these goals in India?
Sir, I think Niti Aayog.
Yeah, you're right. Tell me something about Indian Railway Management Service. You are from a family having government servants.
Yes. Sir, so the Indian Railway Management Service is a proposed merger of the various technical and non-technical railway services. The intent behind creation of the IRMS is ending departmentalism in the railways and enabling a common vision to be put forth for the progress of the railways. However, sir, it has led to some concerns about the various administrative and human resource related issues that may occur with the merger of the cadres. For example, if there are officers who have been recruited from a technical background and will serve in a non-technical post, and there are fears that the greater strength of the technical cadres of the railways could be detrimental to the prospects of the non-technical cadre officers.
Given a choice, would you like to join Indian Railway Engineering Service or Indian Railway Traffic Service? You are an engineer.
Yes.
And why?
Sir, I would like to join the Indian Railway Traffic Service because that deals with both the safety aspect of the railways and the commercial aspect of the railways. When it comes to turning the railways around and putting it on a profitable track, then the IRTS officers will play a crucial role. And when it all comes to the parameter of passenger convenience, safety, there too the Indian Railway Traffic Service officers will play a key role. Though the Indian Railway Engineering Service is also very good, I feel that in the IRTS there will be a greater scope.
Tell me something about SLR, CRR and repo rate.
So SLR is the statutory liability ratio, and it refers to the percentage of bank or financial institutions' assets that have to be put in certain specified government securities or gold. So CRR is the cash reserve ratio, and it refers to a percentage of the bank's liabilities which have to be kept aside in cash to meet the probability, to address the probability of a crisis in the future, say a bank run. And presently, sir, the CRR is 4% of the net demand and time liabilities. Repo rate, sir, refers to a monetary policy instrument which is used to control the supply of money, the money supply in an economy. Presently, it is 5.15%. And sir, whenever a monetary stimulus has to be given to the economy, reduction in the repo rates is seen as a viable method of providing the same.
What exactly is repo rate? To which particular activity is that rate of interest calculation applied?
Sir,
You are saying how the RBI uses repo rate to bring about certain changes in the monetary policy. Fair enough. But otherwise, what is this repo rate?
sir, it refers to the rate at which the RBI lends to the banks.
Yes, right. And what is the reverse repo rate?
So it is the rate at which the RBI borrows from the banks.
What are the liabilities of banks? You mentioned about liabilities of banks. What are they?
Sir, it refers to the deposit made in current accounts, saving accounts, fixed deposit, recurring deposits.
Okay, finally tell me something about the status of UODB in Chhattisgarh state.
Yes. So in Chhattisgarh state, the ranking in the Ease of Doing Business Index has been consistently good. A single window mechanism has been put in place for the firms to register to start. And another thing that has been done for EODB, sir, is the portal for the mining companies in order to register their sales, pay the royalties to the government, and ensure that any cycling of their products is averted. So another step that has been taken for EODB is the Public Service Act, which mandates government representatives, the government officials, to dispose of certain applications in a specific time frame, ensuring that there is time-bound disposal.
Okay.
Mr. Akshay, I think you won first in the essay writing.
Yes.
So what was the essay you wrote at the time?
So it was about Sir Syed Ahmad Khan's vision and efforts towards the education of women.
Education. So what is the state of education of women in India today?
Sir, I think when it comes to women's education, there has been an substantial improvement in enrollment rates. At the secondary level, it is 82% enrollment rate for girls. But sir, the improvements that we have to make relate to the higher education gross enrollment ratio and other issues, sir, like women's entry into the science, technology, engineering and mathematics fields has to be incentivized. Further, sir, in certain schools, there are issues that have to be dealt with. For example, there is the issue of harassment, the issue of lack of infrastructure, which leads to, unfortunately, some of the girls dropping out. So, there have been efforts, sir, to like Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Yojana. There has been the Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas to promote enrollment.
But you see, there is a lot of hype as far as education is concerned in the budget. But the allotment, the allocation of the funds is very, very minimal. How can we go for improving the quality of education in India?
So, certainly the funds may not have been as per the expected, but I feel that administrative reforms can help improve the quality of education. For example, if we focus on learning outcomes for children, remedial tuition for those who are lagging behind the average, the class average, and sir, putting in place accountability and monitoring mechanisms for teachers, school administrators, and facilitating regular interaction between these stakeholders and the parents.
You see, in Delhi, the education system is supposed to be one of the best in the world now because it has improved a lot. So, can we replicate the same system in India, throughout India?
Sir, it could be done, but one has to be careful regarding the financial aspect because Delhi has spent a lot on education. So whether every state will be able to devote the same percentage of funds, it has to be seen. And other aspects are in Delhi, they have emphasized smart classrooms, use of technology to aid learning. I feel that that is one aspect which other states are replicating.
Akshay, there is a saying that character without competence is weak and useless. But competence without character is dangerous and dreadful. So this is the saying. So what exactly do we mean the term called competence and character? Can you define these two terms?
So competence is the capability of carrying out a particular task. And competence depends on one's qualifications, one's skill level, and one's dedication towards that task. So character refers to one's moral makeup, the virtues that one has, and the extent to which it reflects in our work on a daily basis. So character is something that comes out both in public and in personal life.
But today we find that a lot of educated people, highly educated, some of the people are involving into this type of scams. So the danger comes more from the people who are highly intelligent but lack of character. So how we can inculcate this character in the education system?
So I feel for that there needs to be a revamp of the moral education subjects that are part of the syllabi in both schools and colleges. It needs to be made more relevant, more emphasis, sir, I feel on activity rather than on theoretical learning in those subjects is needed. And I think, sir, in the education system, if one highlights on a daily basis examples of people who have acted, students say who have acted in a virtuous manner, like participating in the charitable activities, I feel, sir, that will motivate other students to behave similarly in a virtuous manner. Sir, at one level it will have to be regulatory change in order to control the irregularities and ensure that there is proper adherence to the laws. At another level, sir, I think it will be behavioral change among Indians because being conscious of our responsibilities is necessary. For example, sir, being judicious when it comes to spreading of news. Like with the coronavirus outbreak, there's a lot of fake news that was circulating. And I feel, sir, another change that we need is emphasis on capacity building, ensuring that at the local level, state and then national levels, institutions are capable of delivering better outcomes.
Now, how can we bring it, the attitudinal change among the Indian people?
So I feel it has to be demonstration-led. When people who are respected, say celebrities, bureaucrats, when these people demonstrate then the rest of the people are more likely to come forward. For example, sir, in Vellore, there was an drive for household waste segregation. The target was 100%. There, the municipal commissioner himself posted a picture of him carrying out this waste segregation. I feel, sir, that had a powerful impact on the public side.
Yeah. Akshay, did you ever visit any government office?
No, sir, I have not visited.
Not yet. More focused only on studies?
Yes.
Okay. But did you ever hear people saying, going to government office is a bit unnerving and given a choice they would not like to go? Why is that so?
So I feel it is because the procedures are time consuming. Sometimes people feel they are not treated with due respect. And I feel, sir, those are from the poorer sections of society. Repeatedly visiting government offices is not financially viable.
Yeah. So where lies the problem?
Sir, I think one problem is not utilizing the technology that we have at our disposal. For example, sir, registration of complaints online, checking status of FIRs filed online. That is one problem. Sir, I think another problem is not sensitizing those government functionaries adequately to the needs of the public. For example, sir, there may be people with special needs, like differently able, ensuring that their needs are adequately addressed. And sir, I think also promoting a culture of competence in that, meeting the targets necessary, disposal of complaints in a specific time frame. If all those are inculcated, then functionaries by themselves will ensure that the citizens are less hassled.
They will mend their ways.
Yes.
That's what they mean. I'm sure you must have heard of something like Citizens Charter.
Yes.
What is its current status and is it adequate?
So at present there are several government institutions, PSUs as well as private institutions that have put in place citizens charters listing the services that citizens will be entitled to and the time frame for delivery. But sir, the problem is that occasionally unrealistic time frames are set for delivery of services, disappointing the citizens. Another problem, sir, is that sometimes the local level realities are not taken into account by framing the citizens' charters. So that top-down approach has to be addressed. And sir, when it comes to formulation of citizens' charters, interaction with citizens, taking their views into account is also important because it leads to a sense of public ownership and it can ensure greater trust between them.
Yeah, but I think I can foresee a bit of a conflict there because as a citizen I want my things done pretty fast and as a functionary he would like to take his own sweet time. There could be a conflicting situation. How do we reconcile that? If we involve citizens as a whole or maybe representatives of citizens by way of some community meetings and all that.
Sir, I think then in those citizens meetings a consensus should be evolved on what is a realistic time frame for delivery and then committing to uphold that.
Okay. So my point is the citizen charter currently strong enough to make the functionaries do their bit by way of a public service?
So I feel at present it is not strong enough.
How can you make it strong?
So one way could be to introduce some penal provision. For example, if there is a public official who has not met that standard, then perhaps some disciplinary action for that. It can compel them to meet the necessary targets.
Why Chhattisgarh is Chhattisgarh?
So it was the name was.
No, why it is not Chhattis? Chhattis is 36 now.
Sir, it is said that there were 36 forts belonging to the princely families of Chhattisgarh, and the name came from the 36 forts.
No, it also has some negative connotation when you look at it from the internal security point of view. Chhattisgarh is generally known for haven for Naxal activity.
Some parts, not the entire, not your Raipur, but some parts.
What is the current status?
So the current status is that there has been a hold. The problem has been brought under control, and even the number of accidents has reduced. In 2010 it was 600, now it is less than 400. So earlier there was a problem that the forces operating in the area did not have the benefit of specialized training for guerrilla warfare and jungle warfare. And now, sir, an institute has been set up in Kanker, district of Chhattisgarh, which provides this specialized training. Sir, earlier the socio-economic issues like governance deficits were also contributing to the problem. But Chhattisgarh has improved its implementation of schemes. For example, the PDS system's efficiency has been improved. The Forest Right Act has been implemented in a better way because officers are better trained. And so often the left-wing extremists try to brainwash the local tribals and win them over. So in order to address this, specific measures were taken to reach out to the tribals. For like a One Bandhu Kalyan Yojana for their health and education needs, the minor forest produce prices were hiked sharply so that their economic needs could be addressed.
So overall their living standards have gone up and access to resources has gone up.
Yes.
Okay. No, you also play badminton.
Yes.
Good, and you also won some prizes and all that.
Yes, sir.
You represented your school, NIT. You are badminton singles bronze in NIT.
Yes.
Okay. Why do you think there is a renewed interest in badminton in our country in general, and particularly maybe you are away from Hyderabad, but Hyderabad has become a hub for badminton.
So the success of PV Sindhu and Saina Nehwal in the recent past has led to great interest because parents and budding athletes too feel they can make a future there in sports. So I feel that there has been a better coaching system, the academy culture. In Hyderabad you have Gopichand Academy. Those have helped sports persons in badminton gain better.
No, I was just wondering why a person like Gopichand can make a mark and why he stayed with so much of resources, so many good brains, IAS officers. We are not able to, government as an institution is not able to produce a PV Sindhu or Kashyap or somebody. Where lies the problem?
So I think the problem lies in the coaching facilities that are available, the pool of coaches available for the sports persons in some of the institutions run by the government. And another problem, sir, could be the infrastructure levels. The infrastructure that the private academies provide is better because they have greater resources and private support. But I feel, sir, now things are changing because even in the badminton camps or academies that the government is running, there is a better organized coaching system, there is a better talent identification program.
No, I was just wondering if Gopichand could mobilize so much resource and state with so much of revenues in their kitty, they are not able to produce a good player, and how Gopichand has changed the entire scenario as an individual. It is something very intriguing, isn't it?
So I think it is because Gopichand was very clear. He had a plan for producing. He took on players at a very young age. PV Sindhu has been with it for over 14 years now. And I think, sir, that he knew the importance of certain things like sports science, nutrition, and incorporation of specialists like physiotherapists, dietitians, and mental trainers.
Some kind of a holistic approach.
Yes. A holistic approach.
I think I'll just add one more because badminton is something which even I play. Why Hyderabad has become such a big place and why so many women are playing well, like in many sports. And you said, private resources will create more sportsmen. In that case, why not Bangalore? See that Vimal Kumar,
Prakash Padukone,
Bombay has, Delhi has, and so on. So there is something which I don't want you to put a lot of time on it, but what is there in badminton that's encouraging women to come up in such huge numbers and play well and do well? Is it a sport or is it something else? that you found?
So I think it is the example of set by the previous champions, like Saina Nehwal herself.
That is very recent.
Yes.
Before that, we had international players from Bangalore and all that. Ashwini Popat. There were women players also earlier. Our memory is short. Anyway, I think we will leave that. But I think my contention is Chhattisgarh has tremendous resources, a lot of capabilities, but it's being derailed by lack of proper administration of politics and Naxalism. So in two ways, the resource utilization is not happening, and the utility of youth with talent is not happening. Is it true or false? I am an outsider, reading and.
So I feel that it is to some extent true that the utilization was hampered by Naxalism and in some pockets poor governance. But sir, there have been improvements in the past on both these parameters. Like left-wing extremism has been brought under control to an extent. And when it comes to administration, sir, there have been steps to reform that, like the Public Service Act for time-bound disposal of issues. And sir, there have also been steps to streamline administration by ensuring better monitoring of the district level outcomes by the state government officials. And when it comes to the utilization of youth, sir, youth and their potential, there have been steps to ensure that, for example, for those, sir, who are not able to make it in the formal education system, there have been steps to streamline them into vocational training. Many livelihood colleges have been set up in Chhattisgarh and some in the left-wing extremism affected districts of Bastar division also.
Yeah, and one more thing on Raipur has this capital concept. Is it a success or failure? And this state, Andhra Pradesh is also trying its own methodology to arrive at a capital. 20 years now, what is your observation? Is it the correct approach to create a new capital, new place and all that, or do some other way?
Sir, I feel that in the case of Chhattisgarh, it has been a success because the new capital has been created with the necessary infrastructure and it has to a large extent been a smart city. There are information communication and technology systems for supply of water, electricity, traffic management, etc. And sir, in the case of the new capital, even land acquisition was not a hassle in that it was undertaken quite smoothly. Sir, the funding too was not exorbitant. Around 6,000 crores was spent on the capital, of which the central government provided some 80 crores and the rest was raised through the state government's resources and borrowing. The only problem, sir, I would say with the new capital is occupancy. The occupancy rate is not near the desired, but with the Chief Minister, Honorable Chief Minister and the bureaucrats also shifting to Naya Raipur in the next 2 years, it is hoped that the occupancy rate will also increase. That I feel, sir, will complete the process.
According to you, who is more dependent on capital and government? Is it the poor, middle class, or a large number of people who are challenged on various fronts? So if the capital is too far, you need to go. Should the government come to you or you go to the government?
So I feel it will be the poor because.
So how can they go all the way and develop great infrastructure and all that, but.
So in that case, I feel there is a need to ensure settlement of their grievances close to their areas, like village level settlement of grievances, village level delivery of services, and perhaps even use of e-governance that can provide certain government services at the village level that can help the citizens access the services they need.
On this coronavirus, what is your view? Is India prepared? What is your understanding of our strength on tackling, such outbreaks?
So I feel that India is adequately prepared. The first preventive step of airport screening is being done quite efficiently. Quarantining has been carried out for those affected by coronavirus or returning from China. And sir, I feel that the protocols that have been put in place for transmission of information regarding the coronavirus are also efficient. In that various states have been asked to ready their response teams to respond to any case of coronavirus. And I also feel, sir, that the Indian public health system has been strengthened in order to deal with these disease outbreaks. For example, the capacity that is required for quarantining has been achieved. And I feel, sir, that India, because of it is not a centralized country as such, is somewhat better equipped to deal with coronavirus, because those who are at the local level, say in a district, they can take the measures they need to contain this without waiting for orders or directives from the authorities at the higher levels.
According to me, the Indian Public Health Center administration is a disaster. Okay, we are not capable of handling such issues. For example, in Hyderabad, we had infections in the last 7-8 months. Hyderabad has maximum number of corporate hospitals, but the number of cases was phenomenally high. We were completely strained tackling dengue fever to chikungunya. Now you ask anybody, it's very inadequate. So rural infrastructure is quite inadequate. Also, there's only one institute in the entire country that can test the virus. So how do you say we are prepared?
Sir, certainly there's one that is testing, but I think there are others which have the capability to test and can be ready for that purpose.
Okay. My last question is, do engineers make good bureaucrats, according to whatever you have seen? Like, engineers do make good managers. A lot of IT fellows do MBAs and, come back, hold good positions. So do engineers become good IAS officers? Have you done any? Is it a good grounding for you?
So I feel they can make good IAS officers, because engineers are trained to think logically, to dissect problems, divide them into their segments, and then implement a plan of action. Fundamentally, even in governance, an officer will be required to systematically analyze problems, think of a course of action, implement and monitor it. So I feel that this logical approach can enable engineers to function well by working as bureaucrats.
Okay then, here the mock interview ends. We have taken about 38 minutes to get a reasonably accurate impression about your personality. At the end of that, personally, I am now giving the feedback. The others will also give their own respective perspectives. You're very pleasant. You're very well informed. Nevertheless, at the end of this 38-minute interaction, there appears to be some lack of enthusiasm. Robots, they give beautiful answers because they have excellent database. So you can answer any question. There's no emotional connect. So maybe you have to think in terms of, they will show you the audio,
Body language.
the body language, and all that. A little more of enthusiasm would add a lot to your personality.
Yes.
Otherwise, you are extremely well informed. By run of the mill, you are one of the best this country has produced. You are not a spoiled brat. Notwithstanding, your grandfather was an IAS officer, your father is an IAS officer, your father is an IAS officer, and I don't know what else from your personal side. But you are well aware of the real India. However, of course, when he said, have you ever been to a government office? You admitted you never been to. You were able to isolate the factors why people are reluctant to go to government offices. In the case of the viability gap funding, the name itself suggests that there is a gap in the viability. What is viability? If you have invested some amount of money in a particular project, all businessmen are doing business for profit. So the return on investments may take very long time, like these greenfield airports or these transport, Hyderabad metro and things like that. So till then, the project has to be viable. So they invite bids as to who will quote the least viability gap funding. And it is not given straight away upfront. It is given as per in different tranches as per the completion of the project. Supposing I have to give, I am Government of India, 3,000 crores to be given. So they will say, okay, what is the extent? 10% given, 300 crores given. So if the project is about to be completed, they will give 90%. So that's indeed a funding which is for those projects which are having a problem with being economically viable. Okay. And otherwise, in all other spheres, you're quite well informed. These are the only two things I thought you could polish a little more.
Yeah, I think I agree with him. And you have been using keywords in the answers that you have been giving, which shows that you understand the narrative very well and you are very precise. You be what you are. Between being very serious and between being casual and serious, you have a trade-off, as Sir has pointed out. Don't have to be very serious. Some, it should be pleasant. Otherwise, you are looking very serious actually. You don't have to be so serious. Otherwise, you will do very well. You are the second promising candidate that I have seen in the past 15 or 16 candidates. You will do very well, all the best.
So Akshay, I agree with both the sirs. What is important is the smiling is very important. So I have given almost a very high level, high side, but as far as the body language is concerned, you are right. So there, while answering also, your hands are almost like that, tied up. So both, never you opened your hands to show your gestures like that.
Is that your natural style or are you being extremely guarded?
Sir, it's something my parents told me.
That's okay, you are an adult now and you'll be more successful than your father or mother, don't worry. Don't be eclipsed by them. So what is your natural style?
So I keep them open like that.
That's not what I'm saying. There is communication largely from your lips, like Siri or like a robot. Isn't it? So we have to, the communication should be total. The lips are of course the major deliverer of the words, and words are the main medium. But in addition to that, there is a body which communicates. So, are you in the habit of using the rest of the body other than lips in communicating, or have you always trained yourself to be exactly like
Stiff.
Stiff and very prim and proper? Nobody can find fault with it, but there is no emotion correct.
So sometimes I use the hand gestures.
Okay.
So one thing is the tonality, so the variation of the tone is important. Second thing is the body language. The third aspect which I will point out is just to listen very carefully. So I stressed one word, attitude and change, how you are developing it. So there you just missed it. So I'm interested there. So you have to catch that word.
Yes.
So that way, otherwise, your, as I said, you got the subject, you know how to put the subject in a very short span of time using keywords. They're all very plus points. So very few things you can change, you can take, then it will be very nice.
Content-wise, you are excellent, Akshay. My congratulations to you. And the way you present the answer also, the the most important one comes first and then in the descending order of importance. The way you have arranged your answers, very good. But it seemed more like you are writing mains examination than sitting in a personality test. You are more clinical, to put it that way. Okay, you can be more human.
Yes.
Okay. The other thing I was just wondering, this issue of why government agencies are not able to produce good sportsmen and why individuals are producing. Probably it is the Sarkari attitude. A coach will get paid and all that. He is doing it like a job.
Yes. Yes.
There's nothing much passion left for him unless someone like Arif, who got the Drona award and things like that. Someone who takes it like a passion. He will produce more Gopichans and all that.
Yes.
But typically, if you go to Sai or some other, sports authority,
India, Sai.
all of them, they go, I'm a coach, so morning I go teach something and I get paid and all that. So probably that's something that passion part is missing probably in all government activities. Yes. That's where people like Gopi Chand or maybe tomorrow Jwala Gupta may also produce because she's also coming up with Academy. So that's where I think they invest their entire passion, love, energy, everything into it. Whereas others they go there, they will also always be seeing their next promotion, next increment and things like that. Probably the reason why government initiatives don't really produce good results. That probably I think as I look at it from a distance.
On this, you may like to say, that's my view. It is not the exclusive private effort of Gopichand that brought out so many laurels for the state. The government gave land at a very reasonably concessional price to Gopichand. So that's how the government also encouraged
Its own contribution.
Its own contribution. A way of public-private participation, you like to, if you like it. And government has no business to be in all businesses.
Correct.
So we need to leverage on the strengths of the government and the strength of the person who is best positioned to give such service.
Yes.
And therefore, working together, I think will be a good model. I mean, that's my take.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I agree with most of them, and I want to be a bit harsh on it because it might help. They're very robotic. I
already used the word robo.
Yeah.
I ask a question, the response I get is very structured. Structure is good. Structure, content is good. But then I think you need to look at, we are all humans. And when we ask, I also use some gesticulations, all gestures and all that. So be emotive when it is required. Please practice, not inappropriately. But when you are making a statement where you have a lot of conviction, especially current questions, I think you need to show some expression, facially and or in the what you call audibility.
Tone quality.
Tonal
You have to modulate
quality.
your voice.
Something has to come out which says that you have conviction, you have passion to do things. I think that is very important because we require people with that emotive appeal to drive things. Otherwise, I think that you need to change, otherwise you are very good. I think second thing, this private resource itself need not lead to all successes. I'll tell you very interestingly in this coronavirus, the airlines which went all the way to Wuhan and brought back 645 people is Air India, not SpiceJet or Indigo, whom we are all boarding and pampering. It is the Air India fellows who have gone, risked their lives and come back. do we say that they are not motivated? They are. So there is something that you require as administrators or leaders. You need to bring the best people. I think that's where the human thing is missing. I think all the best. I think you have a good.
So it's on 24th March.
Plenty of time.
So you do some in front of a camera.
You
Mirror.
will see there on
Yes.
this particular video,
Yes.
2-3 angles.
Hmm.
You will see for yourself.
Yes.
And anything you want to ask
Yeah.
us? Choice is yours.
Sir, you are chairing this distinguished board, which has the heavy responsibility of selecting members for the best services. How does it feel, sir?
Well, this is only a simulation. Fortunately, I am not the chairman of the board of UPSC. So our job now is not saddled with such responsibilities. It is to bring out the best in you.
Yes.
Of course, it is. We know that you are good material. You would be very useful to this country if only you make sure that you get selected.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of few marks.
Yes.
So we just want to make sure that you present your best.
Yes.
The real UPSC, I was there for only very few, 3 years only I was there. It is indeed a very weighty responsibility, and there you are all the while, trying to ensure that the best is not lost.
Yes.
So we sometimes are compelled to coax and cajole that man to reveal his best, the candidate to reveal the best. Because if I feel my job ends with, okay, I award a mark, that's the end of it. No. We should not miss, this country should not miss getting the best of this generation, of this crop of aspirants. So fortunately, we are not so much worried about missing the best. We are now trying to help you become more acceptable to the members of the board and a little more human beings, human behavior and emotion.
Yes.
See, eventually what motivates a guy like Pullala Gopichan, he is married, he is sexually active, he hasn't slept in the last 25 years. His wife is an equally great badminton champion. I don't know, PVV Lakshmi. You may be aware, you may not be aware. He has not slept after 3 a.m. for the last 25 years. And this lady, she has simply forgotten that she was an ex-champion, All India champion, and she just acts as a facilitator. She also comes there to look into the administrative aspect. They don't have holidays. Every day they go
Yes.
to that academy and make sure that by the time this PV Sindhu or somebody comes all the way from Secunderabad, everything is ready. And it's not general instructions. They make sure that the real weaknesses of PV shots are analyzed.
Yes.
So they virtually transform the success of PV Sindhu into their success and the failure of PV Sindhu into their failure. Which government coach will do that?
Yes.
So that is the difference. Government coach will say, "Aisa jao, you go straight, you will get the target. Har roz, get up early, 3 o'clock, don't drink, don't do this, and you will reach the goal." But this man travels with you. He does the same thing that you are doing.
Yes.
So that's it. He is not relaxing on his old glory and having 3 pegs of whiskey and a lot of good food and putting on weight. He is on the court in as much of fitness as the Olympic medal aspirant.
Yes.
He has to make sure that he is as fit.
Yes.
That is the difference between. So he leads from the front.
Yes.
Of course, the infrastructure, as he said, government itself cannot replace people like either Arif or Gopichan, but the infrastructure they provide.
Yes.
Any other question? Okay then, all the best. You have plenty of time.
Yes.
You'll be going back to Raipur and up and down, or?
So I will go back on Monday, and then again I may come toward.
Right now you are staying where?
Sir, in Gopanpalli near the financial district.
You have some friend there or
So
something?
I'm staying with my grandparents.
Acha, you are with your grandfather.
Yes.
They do give advice out of their anxiety to make sure that you succeed.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean you have to follow only their method. So be your normal self, whatever you are.
Gunilla IAS.
Yeah, his tata, his grandfather, his mother's maternal grandfather, he himself was chairman of the port of Visakhapatnam Port Trust. His grandfather's younger brother is another IAS officer, Rajendra Mohan Gonela. His grandfather is Rukmini Krishnaji Rao Gonela. So, and his grandfather's father was a famous civil servant. He was also in Krishna district. You may not have met him, I can't remember. He must have passed away.
No, sir, I met him.
So you wiry and tall, and
Yes.
so you met him.
Yes.
So you met. He died at the age of 92 or 93.
So it was in 2004,
So you were about 7-8 years old.
8 years old.
You remember meeting him?
So I remember.
He recorded man is RM Gonela.
Both are OP.
Both are educated, right?
He was also collector at Hyderabad.
Yeah, Hyderabad. I was also.
His grandfather, Rukmini Krishnaji Rao Gonela, was very much in Andhra Pradesh most of the time. Of course, the port trust is 5 years or so. He was in our finance for a long
The
time.
CC and CLR also.
See, a commissioner land revenue.
I helped his mother to buy some wood from Hyderabad when they were building a house.
I said, okay. At Raipur.
Wherever, Mr. Gonila told me,
Ah.
some auction, you know.
I know. Good teak.
Yeah.
But Raipur, the Chhattisgarh has better teak than us.
Yes.
I think that was being built here.
No, but all this Bastar region, Jagdal, very rich in tribal museum, tribal art, metallurgy.
It's an extension of
metallurgy
our
and all is very
we have a long border.
common.
Mammu anta Adilabadu pakka. There is only a projection of Maharashtra called Gadchiroli district. East of Gadchiroli is again, you mentioned Kanked and all that. Anyway, good. So you have nothing else to ask now. All the best, then God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
You are 6'3".
No, sir, I'm 6 old.
6 only.
Yes.
Even your grandfather is about 6'6".
So I think he's 5'11".
Was your father taller?
No, sir, he's 5'10".
Oh,
My paternal grandfather is 6'2".
Oh, okay.
Was he also in the police or something?
No, sir, he was. He's a maths professor.
In Kerala.
No, sir, in Raipur.
I see. You don't know Malayalam at all.
No, sir.
Hindi.
Actually, they are Tamilians, sir.
Achha, they are Tamil Pillays,
Yes.
not Malayali Pillays.
Yes, sir. My grandfather's father had migrated from Tamil Nadu 4 generations ago. Since then, they settled down in Raipur itself.
So they speak Hindi at home.
Yes, sir. They speak Hindi at home.
No Tamil at all.
No, sir.
So நீங்கள் தமிழ் வராது.
Yes.
புரியாது. பேச முடியாது. Okay, all the best.
Thank you, sir.